is the key that says all that complexity of that technology is hidden from the user, and it's a very simple dashboard as to how to manage my backup, how to start and stop my applications, and so on. And this is what the ISVs then exploit in order to deliver that very easy experience for their application in exactly the same manner as what the base platform by itself does. And once it's instrumented to that framework, as I mentioned before, that's what enables that one point of contact for IBM to be for support. Just a quick look at the desktop, the third element of what's in the Smart Business Platform. We do only support one client today. Unfortunately, it is a Microsoft client. Danny, I'll get to the other one shortly, being a Mac guy myself. So you do have to have a Windows client at this point, and it's got some built-in capabilities in terms of SmartCube specific management things. The main one being the dashboard, where I get the status of my applications, the status of my cube, any messages that the system wants to send me, how to manage any system reported or user reported kinds of problems. There is a user programs catalog. What the user programs catalog does is that for every application that's installed on the system, how do my end knowledge workers get at the clients that are needed for that application, whether it's a web client or a rich client? They're all found in one place. And they're integrated into the knowledge workers desktop via the application launch folder. Other capabilities that are kind of pre-built applications, if you will, into the desktop include the collaboration clients for instant messaging and email, web conferencing, voice over IP, and so on. The start of a unified communications presence onto the desktop. Oh, you told me there's only 2 buttons. I managed to find the wrong one. The last part of what I wanted to spend a little bit of time with you on is, now that you've got a quick view as to what the platform value proposition is and what it does, what has Digium done different with Asterisk to enable themselves for fitting into this kind of value proposition and delivery model? It starts with something that's called the integration framework, like Danny had mentioned, was announced, you had the year wrong, it was announced April 2008 at the Business Partner Leadership Conference. What the framework is going to do is enable an experience that as an ISV, hopefully Danny can attest to all of these things, is to how to expand an ISV's or a reseller's business without incurring a lot of additional cost. And the way that we manage those costs is helping first and foremost with support, but also taking out some of the variables that go with a typical IT deployment. So you've got an easier sales cycle, you've got an easier support model, you've got the reach of the IBM.com website to get to those customers. So all those things lead to an expansion of a reseller's or an ISV's business without incurring a lot of additional cost, which was our goal first and foremost in terms of expanding our application portfolio. This is done via the application framework. What the application framework is we looked across the entire life cycle of the application, all the way from how do I just know what kind of applications do I need to obtaining them, fulfilling them, entitling them, managing them, getting the clients down to the workstations, and so on. So every one of these little bubbles that you see on this chart represents what we call an integration point. The integration point then is, if you will, an open API, and I'll show you how to navigate through those APIs in a couple of charts. An open API where, for example, Digium said, this is how I start and stop my Asterisk server, for example. So that is populated onto the dashboard. The integration point and integration framework behind the work that Asterisk and or Digium and IBM have done together then implement that in a very seamless manner. Altogether, there's 17, 18 integration points for simplicity and consistency of that model. One other key thing that you see on this chart is the X kind of way over on the right-hand side. And what that represents is the abstraction of what is installed on-premise versus into a cloud. So as I look to what's on the client workstation on the dashboard, everything is represented on those exactly the same, and the abstraction layer that's behind or that's inside of the integration framework then helps make the determination as to whether this is an on-premise installation or a hosted service where I need to remote that function up to a cloud provider, for example. So